since we both worked there, we worked together obviously at the same store for a period of time. It
Mhm.
doesn't have to be when you and I both worked there, Wes, but what was one of your favorite times working at EB Games or GameStop?
I have two that I could think of. One, I loved system launches.
Oh,
Those
dude, system launches were very special.
they were so special. It was we, you would open up at 6 a.m. It was the excitement around a new system back then was it was fantastic. I'm glad I was able to experience it. At the height of the video game, boom. It was great. Um,
Especially before, like, I would say post, like, before PS3. So, like, on the PS2 era and backwards, like, older systems, they were even more special because it was truly the hardcore coming out. I didn't see scalpers really getting involved until,
mm-mm.
like, the PS3 and Xbox 360 era.
Yeah. Well, like before that, like when the PlayStation 1 came out, the Nintendo 64 came out, the excitement surrounding those launches. And then we got the Dreamcast was fantastic. The Xbox, which was brand new from Microsoft, first console ever from them, and the hype that was surrounding Halo and Dead or Alive, and then you got the PS2 coming out. So to me, I loved system launches. So that's always going to be a favorite time for me because I have a lot of fond memories. We were busy. The hardcore gamers came out. I mean, everybody pre-ordered their system. Everybody was excited to get their hands on it. It was fun, so much fun, so much fun. And then the second time, my second most memorable time at GameStop, uh, Christmas time.
Oh,
Yo,
oh.
I loved working the Christmas season. We were busy. There was tons of games coming out. So many games. Come Black Friday, everybody held their big titles for like the whole Christmas buying season. So we constantly had games coming out. Three, four, five at a time. I loved it. Loved it, loved it.
Yeah, your
Yeah, we
days
were
went by
busy.
really quick. Really
Oh yeah, we
quick.
were busy. I didn't care. It was
Oh,
fun. Selling games, talking to people, helping people, trying to when the ones I love the ones that don't know what they're looking for and they come to us. It's like, okay, I want something new. I want something along the lines of this. This is the type of game I like to play. Okay, here you go. I like this. And they buy it. 9 times out of 10, they would come back, and that's how we gained a customer. They were like, wow, you guys know what you're talking about. This game was great.
yeah, I mean, back then it was a different time. Now they
It
hire
was,
like
man.
all sorts of people, but like you really like if you worked in a store in the you know not anytime in the '90s or the early 2000s, you really knew your stuff. I mean, there was very few people that worked there that didn't know what they were talking about. If any, that I can't even think of one person that didn't know anything about games that worked there. I can't think of one person.
No, because everybody played. Like everybody that we worked with, that I hired, everybody played games to some point.
Yeah, even from I worked at probably once four different stores,
Mhm.
maybe five. I can't. I not even a part timer. Even the part timers that were there for like 8 hours a week,
Mhm.
they knew what they were talking about. I can't say the same thing today, but definitely back then, everybody knew what they were talking about.
Because everybody played. It was great. Oh man, it was great. And it was cool because we had such a decent sized staff. Everybody played just about everything amongst everybody. And
Right?
if there was
Yes.
something that I didn't play, you played. Or if it's not something
Mm-hmm.
you played, someone else played. But amongst all of us, we all played just about everything. And we all
That's
fed
right.
off each other.
Wes was the best though, because you just like, oh man, this is so good, and like Wes be like, really? Like, oh man, it's so good, you got to get it. I mean, I was truthful. I wasn't liking a lot of Wes or anything, but like, I could have easily been bullshitting Wes with a ball in like 2 seconds. You could just twist his arm so easily. Like,
I
all right,
bought
all
anything.
right.
You just said fine. Justin and Greg, who we worked with, they were the
Justin.
worst. They were the worst. You
Well,
have to
Justin
buy
did
this.
buy every. Justin legitimately bought like everything.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And you have to buy it. Okay. Like no pushback, no nothing. It's like fine.
Now, I love what you brought up about everybody having like their different stuff, right, man? If someone like if someone was talking to me, it's like, man, you want to know about shooters? Like, I'll talk to you about shooters, some action games, something like
Mhm.
that. Everybody had their own flavor. You coming to me asking me about an RPG? You're asking the wrong person. Let me go get Wes. Let me go find. Let me go get Justin from downstairs. I don't know no answer about no RPGs. No idea. Which has changed a little bit. I know a little bit about RPGs.
Mhm.
But I wasn't, especially JRPGs. Holy cow, no. Get those things away from me. But no, to your credit, yeah, we had, you know, diverse backgrounds, obviously, but diversity in what we played was very prevalent in our store.
Everybody's taste was different. It was great. It was
Yeah,
great. It was great. And I, I was big, as I told everybody once before. I was big into importing games from Japan because so I would get them 6 to 8 months prior for them coming out in America, and I'd play them and I'd love them. I'd bring them
that
in the
was a big
store.
advantage too because they people would
Uh,
ask me, I'm like, listen, I don't know, but Wes said it's great. He played it 6 months ago. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember bringing them in the store, hooking them up to our demo units, let people try them and play them, and just the excitement. It just kept building, and that's how we got a lot of our pre-orders, and it was fantastic, man. I People say, "Do you miss working at GameStop?" Heck no, but
No,
there's certain aspects of working there that I do miss, and that's one of them. I really, really miss that.
if you, I mean, you kind of do now because you own you're a part owner of the store, so
Right.
it's like you have that experience and you get to say what happens in the store. You have some say over what goes on in the store, right? You got
Uh,
somebody giving you a bunch of shit, you can just be like, goodbye.
yeah, before it was like all corporate, so we weren't really allowed to do that much. But it's
I did it a
different.
few times. I probably should have. I'm sure you heard of.
Yeah, oh yeah, you were the mean one.
I wasn't mean. We had a policy, and people liked to break, and I was like, no. Fine, I'll just go back and talk to Wes. I'm like, cool, he's not here today, so
No, I had the bleeding heart. I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to, but okay.
it's like Batman and Robin, man. Just like you need to see Batman. He's off today. Go, you got Robin. I'm sorry.
Oh man, fun times though, man. Today, what about you? What was one of your standout moments at GameStop?
I mean, it's similar to what you said with the system launches, but just big game launches because big game launches don't exist anymore. Not, I mean, they do, right? But at least 50% of the people are downloading the game. So that's
Hmm.
50% of the people not waiting in line, right? And then even then, a fraction of those people are actually to go out at midnight, or on the West Coast, we can release it at 9 o'clock, because it's midnight on the East Coast. So it
Hmm.
just depends. But the last big game launches I remember seeing was like really big, maybe some Pokemon stuff or something like that. But like I want to say like GTA 5 was probably like the last like
Hmm.
really big launch. And even then, that was PS3 360 era.
Right.
Things were fading out by then too. Like downloads were starting to happen. People were, that was like the beginning of the end, but it was still really big because now it's like I just said, about 50% of the people are just downloading and preloading their games.
I remember, man, several midnight launches. It was like a party.
Oh, dude, it was.
We buy sodas and give to the people in line. The mall allowed us to stay. Allow people to come inside. And they lined up. We had 50, 100 people lined up, and it was great. It was so much fun. The energy, everybody was excited.
Nobody was mad. Do you remember that? Like,
Nobody was mad.
now people go places and they're like mad. They're mad they gotta wait. I'm just like, they made it like it was like a party, dude. It was like a party. Like
Hmm.
when you see like old videos of people like at Best Buys or GameStops or wherever, and they got TVs and they're playing video games, those people were having a good time, like legitimately having a good time. And I know years later, when I went back and forth to GameStop a bunch of times. They were like, "Oh, we got to bring back these launches," and I'm just like, "Are you crazy? You think you can just redo what was?" I was like, "It's not the same anymore. Things are different. People are different. The times are different. Like, and also, 50% of the people aren't going to show up to your store because they're
They're,
just going to download it." I was
they're
like,
going to download it, man.
you cannot make what once was again. Like, it's you can try, but it's not going to be the same.
Me and my son went to the midnight launch of Call of Duty
Which one?
because uh,
Like this past year?
Modern Warfare 2, yeah.
Okay, the new one.
Dude, 6 people was in line.
What?
Six. Six. That was it. And
What?
then like two more came, like a few more came after, but it was definitely under 15 people tops. And it was like,
Yo,
man,
that is
this
mind
is
blowing to me.
sad. This is so sad.
Wes, that's like one of the biggest games every year. I mean, I haven't worked at a GameStop in about 2 years now. Was probably when I left, somewhere around there. But when I left, Call of Duty was the one, if not the biggest game, always one of the biggest launches every year. And like,
Mhm.
we were still doing, 2 years ago, we were doing like 200 pre-orders, easy, easy, if not more. Like minimum, I'm saying there was a minimum of 200 pre-orders for that game,
Mhm.
which means you'd have a minimum of 100 people standing in line because usually you get like half those people to show up at midnight.
Yeah. Now, though, like you said, with the rise of digital, and you got people just like, I'll not leave in my house. I'll get it tomorrow, or I'll get it the
Man,
next day. It's like it's not the same, and it felt different. It
it
really
felt weird
did.
because you were probably going there, oh, there'll be some people, it might be fun, and you're like, where the hell is everyone?
And the only reason I went out is because I had to pick up a copy for an old DM of mine, and his son is a huge gamer, and he's like, I know nothing about games. Can you please take care of this for me? Fine. And his son had to have the steel book. Had to have the
Mm,
steel book, and the steel books were while supplies last.
mm.
So I, got up, threw my clothes on, went to GameStop, picked up mine, and I picked up his just to get his steel book. But it was just like I feel why it's not the same anymore. Like, bro, I'm gotten older. I'm usually asleep by midnight.
You know what, Wes? That's a fantastic point. Like, if you look at charts and stuff, like, yes, there's still young gamers. I'm not saying there's not, but the majority of gamers have aged up over the years. Like, we fit into like the most popular group of gamers now because we were big back then and we continue to be big. And we stayed with it.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're still young people. I'm not saying there's not other people. There's other age groups outside of people like in their mid 30s to early 40s, but we represent, I think, the largest amount of gamers now, which is insane to think about. But it's also going back to your point, which is like, dude, I'm almost 40. I'm not going to your midnight launch. Like, it was fun back then.
It was fun. It was fun because we had to work it.
I
You
mean,
know,
I didn't mind going to them too at some point, depending on what was coming out. I went to a few of them when I wasn't an employee. Those ebbs and flows of when I went
yeah.
in and out of GameStop and EV Games.
It's different times, my friend, man. Different times, and I wish the gaming industry would go back to that time period because it was fun. It was fun. The excitement of a new game release was big. Now it's just far and few. A lot of the developers closed up shop. There's only a few handful big name developers still out there, and digital, and you got digital. So it's times are changing.
But yeah, that's obviously one of the most memorable moments. I think the other thing would just be, I mean, it's kind of a really broad subject, but the people, um, mostly the employees. So I mean, obviously you have camaraderie and stuff with the employees, but I really remember a lot of the employees from the GameStops and like EB Games that I've worked at. I remember a lot of them very well. Some better than others, of course, but that was definitely important to me. I learned a lot from people. I've learned what to do.
Hmm.
I've learned what not to do. So those are both valuable lessons, right? And the customers as well. Kind of going off a tangent, like the best part of that job was like, going back to what you said earlier. Like you make a recommendation, they come back like a few days later, or a week later, like, oh man, that game was great. Like, I know. Like, what should I play next? This is what you should play next.
Yep,
Like
that
making
was
those
it.
recommendations was fantastic. But
I remember there were two customers that always came in on Friday night when me and Greg, because I always closed on Friday night, and this was just as Guitar Hero came out. And they would come and hang out and we would talk video games, and I didn't mind talking to them because they were intelligent. They were able to hold a good conversation. It wasn't like a real, like, nerdy type of conversation. Like it was just, they were just cool. We chatted about video games and it was great. And Guitar Hero came out and they were like, I need something new to play. Oh, I got you. Play this. Like, what is it? I says, Guitar Hero. You simulate playing a guitar. That's dumb. Like, no, it's not. Trust me. I was like, trust me. I was like, if you don't like it, and we weren't supposed to do this, but I was so confident. I'm like, look, buy it. If you don't like it, I will let you return it. And he was like, okay. He's like, we'll trust you. We take your word for it. He was hooked. Hooked.
Oh,
Came back.
so
He's like,
good.
I hate you. I was like, why? He's like, I am so hooked on that game. But it was, it was those little risks that we could take, but it was the ability to gain customers because they valued our opinion.
Yep.
You know, they valued what we had to say. They valued, what we thought about games. If we said, "No, this game sucked," then they were like, "Okay, you guys know better." I mean, granted, if you want to buy it, you could buy it, but look, this is what we didn't like it for this reason.
Wes is still in a retro game store now, so you can go there to get his opinions, right? Level Up Entertainment at the
Come
Hamilton
on.
Mall, Mays Landing, New Jersey. So you can go there if you want recommendations. I also know Greg and Sean, and I know that they will make good recommendations to you guys as well. So definitely check them out there. But the other side of it is what we're doing now, right? Like we're doing YouTube videos, we're doing podcasts. Our company does TikToks.
Hmm.
We do all sorts of stuff now, and all we're really doing is just recommending what we love to you. Still, just in a new format. This is the way you get stuff now, right? This is the way we're going to recommend things to you through the internet, through things like this. So that's why we're doing this. If you were to ask me, why am I doing this? I want you to know what I care about. And if you care about things that are similar, then I could probably recommend cool stuff to you also. And if you like things that I like, you can probably recommend cool stuff to me as well that I'm not aware of.